This is a list of ancient tribes in the ancient territory of Illyria. The name Illyrian seems to be the name of a single Illyrian tribe that was the first to come into contact with the ancient Greeks, causing the name Illyrians to be applied to all people of similar language and customs. The locations of Illyrian tribes, peoples prior to the Roman conquest, are approximate, as sometimes many wholly different locations are given by ancient writers and modern authors. After the Great Illyrian Revolt, the Romans deported, split, and resettled Illyrian tribes within Illyria itself and to Dacia, sometimes causing whole tribes to vanish and new ones to be formed from the remains, such as the Deraemestae and the Docleatae, some of them mixed with Celtic tribes. Many tribal names are known from Roman civitates, and a number of the decuri formed of the dispersed tribes in Illyria. Tribes: Illyrian, Albani or Albanoi were an Illyrian tribe whose first historical account appears in a work of Ptolemy, the citizens of Albanopolis, in the region lying to the east of the Ionian Sea, and in the center of modern Albania, near the city of Krulia. The name of modern Albanians comes from this tribe. Awadia was an Illyrian tribe, residing inland, that eventually settled on the Adriatic coast. The Ardia had 20 decuri. The Ardean dynasty ruled over the Illyrian kingdom. Auteriatae or Auteriates was an Illyrian tribe that became prominent between the 6th and 4th centuries BC. The tribe had been Celticized. Bathiatae was an Illyrian tribe. Bileanes was an Illyrian tribe. They were affected by a partial cultural Hellenization. Deraemestae Deraeobes was an Illyrian tribe in Nerona Conventus with 14 decuri. Caviae was an Illyrian tribe. They lived close to Lake Skodra. The main settlement was Epicaria. They are mentioned rarely by ancient writers. Chelidones was an Illyrian tribe whose name in Greek meant snail men. They lived in the Matadran valleys. Dacia was an Illyrian tribe. Another name of the tribe was Dacia. The Dacia had suffered attacks from the Delmatae that made them along with Issa seek the aid of the Roman state. The Dacia fought on the Roman side, providing them with the strong navy, abandoning Caravantius. After the Illyrian Wars, the Dacia were given immunity. Their most important city was Daralson. They had 17 decuri. Desitiates was an Illyrian tribe. They were located between the Dardani and the Ardia. Appian of Alexandria wrote in his Illyrian Wars that according to the ancient Greeks, Illyrius, the ancestor of the Illyrians, had a daughter, Dacia, from whom sprang the Desitiates. Juri was an Illyrian tribe. Other possible names are Deraoi and Darbanoi. The Juri had 25 decuri. Daciae was an Illyrian tribe located around the silver mines of Damascene. Only Strabo passingly mentions this tribe. Kinyambroi was an Illyrian tribe. They surrendered to Octavian in 33 BC. The Encheliases were an Illyrian tribe. The name given by the Greeks meant eel men. In Greek mythology, Cadmus and Harmonia ruled over them. Several locations are hypothesized for the Enchelians. Around Lake Ohrid, above Lake Ohrid of the region of Lynkestis south of the Taulonti. Maiezerae has been the tribal group of Maiezerice, including 269 decuri. Melkomani Ameromenwara Melkomaneroi was an Illyrian tribe. The Melkomani had 24 decuri. Narentia, Narentioi, and Naresi was the name of a newly formed Illyrian tribe from various peoples at the river Naran. The Narensi had 102 decuri. Pannonian was the name of an Illyrian tribe. The chief town was Uscana. Sardiates or Sardiotai was an Illyrian tribe close to Jajce. Sardiates were later settled in Dacia. The Sardiates had 52 decuri. Salepitani was an Illyrian tribe located below the Lake Scutari. Dalmatai were an ancient Illyrian tribe. They were later Celticized. The Delmatae had 342 decuri. Iopides. The Iopides were an ancient people who dwelt north of and inland from the Liburnians, off the Adriatic coast and eastwards of the Istrian peninsula. The first written mention of an Illyrian tribe known as Iopides is by Hecataeus of Miletus. Baradastae were an Illyrian tribe that was later settled in Dacia along with Pirastae and Sardiates. The Baradastae was a Dalmatian tribe. Docleatae were an Illyrian tribe that lived in what is now Montenegro. Their capital was Dacia, and they are called after the town. They had settled west of the Maraca River up to Montenegro's present-day borders with Herzegovina. The Docleatae were prominent for their cheese, which was exported to various Roman provinces within the Roman Empire. They were composed of parts of the Taulonti, the Plerii, Epirei, Endiarudini, Sassari, Grabe, Labitae that came together after the Great Illyrian Revolt. The Docleatae had 33 decuri. Plerii, Epirei, Epalario was the name of an Illyrian tribe. Endiarudini or Enderini Interfluorinoi was the name of an Illyrian tribe that became part of the Docleatae. They were located on the east of Lake Skodra at Enderon near Nixich. Sassare was the name of an Illyrian tribe that became part of the Docleatae. The Grabrae Cambioi were a minor Illyrian group that lived around Lake Scutari. Labitae was an Illyrian tribe that lived around Skodra. Deraemestae was the name of an Illyrian tribe. The Deraemestae was composed of parts of several other tribes such as the Ozioii, Taulonti, Partheni, Hemicini, Arthithai and Armistae. The Deraemestae had 30 decuri. Oxyoi or Oxyoi was the name of one of the tribes comprising the Deraemestae. Hemicini was the name of one of the tribes comprising the Deraemestae. Arthithai was the name of one of the tribes comprising the Deraemestae. Armistae was the name of one of the tribes comprising the Deraemestae. Taulonti was the name of a cluster of Illyrian tribes. According to Greek mythology, Taulas, one of the 6 sons of Illyrius, was the eponymous ancestor of the Taulonti. They lived on the Adriatic coast of Illyria, between to the vicinity of the city of Epidamnus. This tribe played an important role in Illyrian history of the 4th–3rd centuries BC, when King Glaucias ruled over them. This tribe had become bilingual, being under the effects of an early Hellenization. Taulonti could prepare mead, wine, from honey like the Abri. Abri were an Illyrian tribe. They could prepare mead, wine, from honey, and were known to the Greeks for that method. They were Taulonti and affected by Hellenization. Partheni. The Partheni appear the Netai were Illyrians, part of the Taulonti, who may be placed to the north in the mountainous neighborhood of Epidamnus, and thus next to the Taulonti. After the death of Philip, king of Macedon, they appear to have been added to the dominions of Pleuratus, an Illyrian prince allied to the Romans. The principal town was Parthos, which was taken by Caesar in the course of his campaign with Pompeius. The double-hilled Dimel, the strongest among the Illyrian places, with 2 citadels on 2 heights, connected by a wall, was within the territory. There is no indication, however, of its precise situation, which was probably between Lysis and Epidamnus. Livy mentions 2 other fortresses, Eugenium and Bargillum. They had been affected by Hellenization. Pannonian tribes. Pannonians was an Illyrian tribe, who inhabited the southern part of what was later known as Roman province of Pannonia, south of the river Drava, and the northern part of the future Roman province of Dalmatia. The Pannonian tribes appear to have been Celticized. Later, a number of Pannonians settled in Dacia. The Pannonians were not definitely subdued within the province of Illyricum until the Great Illyrian Revolt, which started in 06 AD when the Pannonians, together with the Dalmatians and other Illyrian tribes, revolted, and engaged the Roman Empire in a hard-fought campaign that lasted for 3 years. When they were finally overcome by the future Emperor Tiberius in Germanicus in 09 AD. At that point, the province of Illyricum was dissolved, and its lands were divided between the new provinces of Pannonia in the north and Dalmatia in the south. The date of the division is unknown, most certainly after 20 AD but before 50 AD. The Pannonian tribes inhabited the area between the river Drava and the Dalmatian coast. Early archaeology and onomastics show that they were culturally different from southern Illyrians, Ipods, and the Latine peoples commonly known as the Celts, though they were later Celticized. However, there are some cultural similarities between the Pannonians and Dalmatians. Many of the Pannonians lived in areas with rich iron ore deposits, so that iron mining and production was an important part of their economy before and after the Roman conquest. Apart from Sigistica, the Pannonians did not have settlements of importance in pre-Roman times that were actually Celtic. Ancient sources mention few of the Pannonian tribes by name, and historians and archaeologists have located some of them. Those tribes were Amantani. Amantani was the name of a Pannonian Illyrian tribe. They greatly resisted the Romans but were sold as slaves after the defeat. The Amantani were close to Sirmium, in a similar case to the Illyrian Atintani and the ancient Greek Atintanes or Atintanians. The Amantes were ancient Greeks whilst the Amantani Illyrians, from Pannonia an ancient Greek polis with the name Amantia existed. Bruci were Illyrians of the subtribe of Pannonians. They greatly resisted the Romans but were sold as slaves after the defeat. They started receiving Roman citizenship during Trajan's rule. It is likely that the name of the northeastern Bosnian city Bratsko is derived from the name of this tribe. A number of Bruci settled in Dacia. Bato the Brutian of the Bruci tribe and Pinus from Pannonia were among the leaders of the Great Illyrian Revolt, together with Bato the Desitiate of the Desitiates from Dalmatia. Colapiani. Colapiani was the name of an Illyrian tribe. The Colapiani were created from the Pannonian Bruci along with the Osiriates and the Celtic Varchani. They lived in the central and southern White Carniola along the Cooper River, and were mentioned by Pliny the Elder and Ptolemy. The archaeologists Yarrow Sazel and Dragan Bozic have attributed the Vinica material culture to Colapiani, but opinions are divided. Desitiates. Desitiates or Desitiates were an Illyrian tribe that lived in what is today Bosnia and Herzegovina during the time of the Roman Republic. Along with the Myezerae, the Desitiates belonged to the Pannonians. They were prominent from the end of the 4th century BC up until the beginning of the 3rd century AD. Evidence of the daily activities can be found in literary sources, as well as in the rich material finds that belong to the autochthonous Middle Bosnian cultural group, because the Desitiates were present during Roman rule in the Western Balkans. The name can be found in many inscriptions and historical works of ancient writers. During the 19th century, scientific interest in the Desitiates materialized, whereby research was focused in parts of Upper Bosnia. However, all research efforts have yet to provide a complete analysis of the Desitiates. The Desitiates were unquestionably unquestionably one of the main components of the Illyrian ethno-cultural complex that stretched from the southern Adriatic to the Danube in the north. They specifically lived in the center of the Illyrian West Balkan and Pannonian world. The capital of the tribe was the modern-day town of Breza, located in Bosnia. After nearly 3 centuries of political independence, the Desitiates were conquered by Roman Emperor Augustus. Afterwards, the Desitiates were incorporated into the province of Illyricum with a low total of 103 decuri. Ultimately, the widening gap between the Roman government and its subjects in Illyricum led to the Great Illyrian Revolt, which began in the spring of 06 AD. The Desitiates were the first to revolt under the leadership of Bato the Desitiate and were soon joined by the Bruci. Other natives were recruited to fight against the Marcomanni, while the rebellion swiftly overtook enormous areas of the Western Balkans and the Danube region. The role of the Desitiates in the rebellion was immense, which contributed to their ultimate disappearance. Pirastae, Piraustai, Pirasioia, Pirustai were an Pannonian Illyrian tribe that lived in modern Montenegro. According to some sources, they had also lived in territories outside of modern-day Montenegro, but the majority of archaeologists, including the famous British archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans, say that the Pirastae had lived in northern Montenegro, around present-day Plagevlia, and that they were prominent miners. The prominence in mining has been seen in epigraphic monuments from Dacia's mining regions. Pirastae, along with other Pannonians and Illyrians like the Desitiates, were later settled in Dacia. Scitarii Citones were an Illyrian tribe. Scitarii were part of the Pirastae. The Scitarii had 72 decuri. Glintidiones or Glindicians were an Illyrian tribe. The Glintidiones may have been part of the Pirastae. The Glintidiones had 44 decuri. Sarauni was the name of an Illyrian tribe that lived close to the Pirastae in modern Montenegro. The Sarauni were part of the Pirastae. They had 24 decuri. Siculotai were an Illyrian tribe. The Siculotai were part of the Pirastae. The Siculotai had 24 decuri. Sigistani were Illyrians of the subtribe of Pannonians who inhabited the area around Sigistica. In the 2nd century BC, the Sigistani were attacked without lasting success by consuls Lucius Aurelius Cotta and an unidentified Cornelius. In 35 BC, the Sigistani were attacked by Augustus, who conquered and occupied Siscia. Maezoi were Illyrians of the subtribe of Pannonians. The Maezorites had 269 decuri. Andisites, also referred to as Andisites, was a small Illyrian tribe that lived in the territory of present-day Bosnia and Herzegovina. Not much is known about this tribe except that it is found on the list of Illyrian tribes made by ancient Romans, against whom the Illyrians put up a heroic resistance. Perhaps best portrayed during the Great Illyrian Revolt for Freedom, the legendary Baton's Uprising. The personal name of Andes, popular among the Illyrians of southern Pannonia and much of northern Dalmatia, as it seems, derived from the name of this tribe. Another variant of this widespread personal Illyrian name is Andis. They started receiving Roman citizenship during Trajan's rule. They were Pannonians. Izali was the name of an Illyrian tribe. After the Great Illyrian Revolt, the Izali were deported by the Romans. They were Pannonians. Dicians were Illyrians of the subtribe of Pannonians. The Dicians had 239 decuri. Jaci was the name of an Illyrian tribe subtribe of Pannonians. Osiriates, along with the Celtic Varchani and the Colapiani, were created from the Pannonian Bruci. Illyriae propriedicti. Illyriae propriedicti were the Illyrians proper, so called by Pliny in his Natural History. They later formed the Docleatae. They were the Taulonti, the Plerii Epirei, the Endiarudini, Sassarae, Grabae, Labitae. Illyrians proper were also some of the native communities of Rome and Dalmatia. Thracian Illyrian Dardani were Illyrians that may have had Thracian origin. Galabri subtribe of the Dardani, Thanatae subtribe of the Dardani. Pannonians were closer to the Thracians. Atintani were a tribe in Illyria, north of Via Egnatia. Appian mentions them close to Epidamnus. During the Illyrian Wars, the Atintani went over to the Romans and, according to Appian, Demetrius of Pharos tried to detach them from Roman authority. The Atintani seem to have originated from the obscure, perhaps Thracian Tintani, only attested in coins. The Atintani were ruled by the Thracian dynasty of the Pericades. Phrygian Bryges, Celtic Boii, Arabiates, Cornicates, Belgites, Tricornenses, Ceretes. Serapoli were a tribe that migrated to Upper Pannonia in Illyria. They together with the Ceretes lived on both sides of the Drava. Hercuniates, Latabici, Scordaci, Dindaria, a tribe that was a branch of the Scordaci. Salegri, Varchalni, Posanoi, a community of the Iopodes. Japides, Dacian cities in Illyria. Greek colonies in Illyria. Liburnian. In the early historical sources from the 8th century BC, the Liburnians were recorded by name or as separate ethnic groups, and as early as the 6th century BC, Hecataeus noted that the Liburnians were also composed of Caulici, Mentors, Sciathi and Hythmetae, probably narrow tribal communities. Later, in the 3rd century BC, Callimachus mentioned Mentors, Hymens, in Chelae and Pusiches as those who once had been a part of them. Ismeni were also recorded as one of the communities. Messapic. These tribes did not dwell in Illyria, but in the heel of southern Italy. They could have had Illyrian origins or some sort of link with Illyria. Messapi, Dorni, Pisati linked to the Liburnian Pusiches. Iopages linked to the Iopodes, who were sometimes also called Iopages. Venetic history. Carni, Catri, Gatali, Sequuses, Lopsi,